So we're going to talk about isomers, right?
Yes, please.
What page is it? Right here. Okay, we talk about, I think it's 1, stereoisomers.
So the reading assignment was isomers on page 62, as well as pages 58 through 63, organic chemistry and isomers. So,
Okay. Then let's go ahead and write down. I'm gonna write down the different types that we have, right? Because we only go over a few. You have constitutional, right? Constitutional isomers. You have stereo isomers. You have enantiomers, right?
yeah.
And I'm really gonna try to spell this one right. I can never spell teomers. And then you have diastereomers. There, you were right. I was thinking stereos. I was like, how is it a di-stereo? How does that? It's kind of like combine them both. They're not di-stereomers. My bad. 100% right. Are there any others besides that? Constitutional stereoisomers, enantiomers, diastereomers. Stereomers.
So constitutional isomers, I learned the term structural. Is that the same?
Yeah.
Okay, constitutional or structural. Is a stereoisomer the same thing as a geometric isomer?
No. So stereoisomers are also known as geometric.
They are also. Okay.
Mostly you're gonna say stereo. I don't remember what the term they use, but it's
Is
gonna
it?
be a little flexible.
Or is that not? A stereoisomer is not a geometric isomer? Or it
They have
is?
the same thing. You can use either or word.
So it's also a cis-trans isomer then?
And that's what makes it up. So a stereoisomer involves normally a double bond, which you'll be dealing with. We'll say carbon, and you'll have, I'm just gonna use X and Y's, okay? Okay. It involves, obviously isomers involve at least 2 different molecules with the same formula.
Right.
And so, a stereoisomer is same kind of basic form. It has the same formula, right?
Yeah.
The only difference is you have cis and trans.
Gotcha.
Stereoisomers. This is a trans. Why? Because this is on this side. This is on this side of the molecule. They're on separate sides. I often think of like the Transcontinental Railroad that crosses the U.S. And so you're crossing to the other side. They're on separate sides.
Gotcha.
That's what makes a trans. A cis would just be just like this, right? They're on the same side. That's cis. And I just remember cis like cis, same, I don't know. But mostly the trans is a better, easier one to remember for the analogy. But that's what makes a stereoisomer. It has just trans, one has to be on opposite sides, one has to be on the same side. Here's something tricky though, or I keep saying tricky, I guess maybe kind of confusing. What makes this and this different from this?
Well, I imagine that it makes it different because if you just if you have a single bond between carbons, you're bonding in like one, like in an s orbital, so it's like it can rotate around an orbital. But if you're double bonding, you have a sigma bond and a pi bond, and pi bonds can't. If they're both there, you're stuck.
Right. That's it, perfect. So you have to be careful, you have to make sure when you look at these that there's no way for this to to rotate around, to have a conformational change, that's called. You want to make sure that it's stuck like that. It can't spin around.
Right. And also, it kind of makes sense. You just look at it, you can see two
Yeah.
carbons has like a stick in the middle. If they were stuck together, you could
Right.
rotate it. But if you had two sticks in there,
Can't do that.
you can't. I mean, you could turn the whole thing, but you couldn't turn the individual ones.
All right. Perfect. So that's something you keep a heads up there. So that's a stereoisomer, also known as geometric isomer. It involves a trans state where one's on one side, one's on the other side, and a cis state where one's on one side and the other one's on the same side. Right here, right here. This single bond would not be an isomer of these two. A constitutional isomer. What do you think? Because I know you studied this and I know you know it. You already took the test. So what's a constitutional isomer?
Oh, we haven't been tested on this.
Oh, they didn't test you on OChem the first test?
No, so we went up to OChem. So like just before OChem, that's what we were tested on.
Ah.
So we were tested on like lots of chemistry, like chemistry background stuff.
I thought you were tested on. We were tested on our first test.
No, on this stuff that we've gone over today, we haven't been tested on.
Okay, cool. Well, then I feel like we're really working towards something.
What's that?
I thought we were just going over stuff in the whole test, but now we're working towards something, working towards the next test.
Oh yeah, that is what
Good,
we're working towards
good.
because I haven't been tested on this and
I had it in my head that we'd already taken it. Okay, cool. Constitutional isomer. A constitutional isomer is same molecular formula, obviously, different structure. That's all it is. It's just two different things that just have, I'm gonna write it out. It's not a stereoisomer, so you can't flip them around. They're not like similar at all. They're just two totally different looking molecules, okay? So they have the same formula, but it's a different formation. Okay. Let's see what example it gives us in our book. So here's an example in the book. You have the same amount of carbons here and here, same amount of hydrogens, but those are two very different structured.
is that a methyl?
That would be methyl. Good call.
Great.
Good job. On the ends too. Right there, right there. So that's what it is. It's like saying I have 20 Lego blocks and I build something, and then I have the same 20 Lego blocks and I build something that looks totally different.
Okay.
That's what it's like.
That's
That's
a
all you
constitutional or structural.
Yep. Good job. Now in enantiomers, I have the basic stuff in my head, but let me get the one that's scientific. Have you talked about stereocenters?
No. A stereo center? Oh, I mean, to be honest, we may
You may
have talked about
Okay,
it.
you're fine. Don't worry about it. Then asymmetric carbon. Okay. So really what a an enantiomer is, I could draw it, but really the best way is just to let you see this in the book. Is if we're looking at our book, page 62, on the enantiomers it says, okay, you have this molecule right here and this one right here. And they're basically mirror images of each other. So if you put them in front of each other, they're mirror images. And if you put them on top, obviously they're going to be exactly the same. Now if you face them the same way, they're going to be backwards like our hands, right?
Gotcha.
That's what an enantiomer is. With these, we got to really use our head, and we just kind of have to flip it around in our head. We have to imagine, okay, if I put it this way, is it going to still do that? If I don't, is it still going to? So an example, these are always a little difficult to come up with examples. Maybe involve some thought. OH, that, let's imagine that this molecule is looking at itself in a mirror right now. If they were to look at themselves and had eyes and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
So, it's looking at itself, it is looking at, this is exactly on the same side. It's kind of like this, and they're just like looking at each other. That's an enantiomer. You cannot, for however much you try, if this is the two enantiomers and they're looking at each other, however much you try, if you went up to the glass, okay, they're the same. But if you face them the same way, however much you try, you can never make them lay on top of each other equally. They're always going to be mirror images. That's just the best way to think of it. It's a mirror image of the other. And then a stereoisomer, that is something that has, can I see that real fast? Because it says, I want to make sure I'm saying the right word, Stereoisomer is what I'm trying to find, if that's what it is.
The lecture is.
Okay, perfect, that's where I'm going to find it. Maybe we just talking about asymmetric carbons, which is the same thing as stereoisomer plasma. Okay. I'm looking at these in an enantiomer. Not enantiomers, two enantiomers. Not enantiomers. Two the enantiomers number of asymmetric carbons. Okay.